Hello, everybody. How y'all doing? I'm sorry I won't be there to present this in class, but we got a video, so technology is amazing. My name is Brooke Davis. You didn't know. And I will be giving a presentation over why television will never be the same. So, welcome to the world of broadcasts. And I'm just going to give a quick timeline of how television began. In 1927, Phileo Farnsworth transmitted the first electronic television image. In 1930, the BBC begins an experimental television broadcast in the UK. So, right off the bat, two things have happened within 3 years. In 1936, the BBC launches the world's first regular high-definition TV service in London. In 1939, the Radio Corporation of America, the RCA, introduces television to the U.S. at the New York World's Fair. And in 1941, the U.S. Federal Communications Commission, FCC, authorizes commercial TV, and in 1947 to 1950, television ownership and regular broadcasting exploded in the U.S., marking the real start of the TV era. So while the technology was around in the 1930s, broadcast TV didn't really take off until post-World War II years, especially in the U.S. And so why is the broadcast industry going into a decline? The simple answer is YouTube. So I'm going to give a quick timeline over how this all began, and you can kind of see a difference between how long it took for television to take off versus this. In February 2005, YouTube was founded by three former PayPal employees, Steve Chen, Chad Hurley, and Jawad Karam. I think I'm saying that right. We'll see. The first video uploaded was in April 23rd, 2005 by Jawad Karim. I think I'd be able to pronounce it, but apparently not. And it's called Me at the Zoo. So if you want to look up that after this, it has a lot of views. And by November of 2005, the site hits 8 million views per day. So while it took the television industry years and years and years to really get developed and take off, YouTube took off like that. And from 2009 to 2010, becomes the go-to platform for creators, vloggers, and even major media companies. And simply, what makes it different? Content creation. Anyone with a camera, internet access can now be a content creator. It removes the gatekeepers, networks, and studios that could traditionally control who gets a platform. People don't have to audition for things. They don't have to work their way up in a company to get on TV. They can kind of just do it themselves. And enabled the rise of independent creators, vloggers, and influencers. I decided to add my own YouTube channel that I've had for almost a decade, which is crazy. And it was so easy for me to set it up in 5 minutes, and I can post whatever content I want. I can talk about whatever I want as long as it meets community guidelines. So, what made it so popular? It was the wide variety of content. You can find whatever you like. Unlike TV, YouTube thrives on niche content such as gaming, ASMR, true crime, and educational channels. It creates dedicated, loyal audiences around particular interests, and it opened up new opportunities for creators. Here are two of the creators that I added to myself. I watched their videos before. PewDiePie and Mr. Beast. They all built massive audiences without having a traditional media backing. So another thing is on-demand viewing and ad revenue model distribution. So like TV, you have networks that are paying these people to be on TV while YouTube's paying people to create content. And by getting products or companies to sponsor you or add ads throughout your YouTube video gives you money. So YouTube gave people creative freedom and shifted viewers' expectations of content. People went from a fixed TV schedule to anytime, anywhere access. The platform changed us. Instead of a set TV guide with no influence based on what we regularly consumed, YouTube's algorithm recommends whatever it thinks that you will like based off of past videos that you've watched or searched up using Google AdSense. It has a new monetization method, and brands now spend a significant amount of money on marketing their items through YouTube instead of TV. So, here's a simple question. How much do they make? Now, obviously, we have Mr. Beast here. We know he gets a lot of views. We know he has a lot of subscribers and all the things. So, can anybody in the class, I'm not there, guess how much he made last year just off of YouTube? Not Mr. Beast Industries or anything. Not the the Feastables, or I don't know what they're called, the little chocolate bars. Just off of YouTube ad revenue alone. Any takers? Any takers? Keep guessing. Keep guessing. I don't know if anybody's guessing, but we'll find out. Okay, he made $85 million last year just off of YouTube alone. Now, let's compare that to people that we regularly see on TV every day. I added Charles Barkley and Tom Brady, who are both retired athletes who now work for different networks. And last year, Charles Barkley was paid $21 million, which is, of course, still a lot of money, but not anything compared to Mr. Beast making 85 mil. I've also added Markiplier, I think that's how you say his name. He's another YouTuber who just off of YouTube alone last year made the same amount of money as Tom Brady on Fox Network. Kind of crazy. So, how did it do it? How did it change the world? So, the influence on traditional media. TV networks now host their own YouTube channels and clips and extras. For example, NBC and the BBC. Um, People stopped watching SNL and just waited for the next day for SNL to upload clips and scenes. And so they didn't have to stay up later. They could do whatever they wanted and watch it the next day. Or if they didn't like a video, they could just skip to the next skit. New organizations use YouTube for live streaming and reaching younger audiences. Traditional shows have started mimicking YouTuber style, jump cuts, direct cameras, casual tones. It just has become more of a personal aspect watching it on our computers or our phones or even our TVs than watching traditional media. So, live streaming and real-time interaction platforms for activism and alternative news. When we're watching on the TV, it's not like we can leave a comment on anything being like, oh, at this point, I agree with you at this point, blah, blah, blah. Or I would like to see this kind of content next. You can't do that with live TV. They don't have a comment section. So it's changed how live events are broadcasted, concerts and gaming events. People use things like YouTube Live and Twitch just to interact with their audience a little bit more. It's not the same as watching something live on TV. YouTube Hub is used for alternative journalism and citizen reporting, and played a role in political movements, podcasts, or protests, and spreading underrepresented stories. I know during the election this past November, I didn't even turn on the regular news. I just was watching a live stream on YouTube because I felt like it was going to be quicker updated and I wasn't going to be talking about the same thing over and over again. Okay. YouTube views versus traditional TV broadcasts. So this is just within the last year of 2024. Live broadcast stations only get high numbers during events like the Super Bowl or the Oscars, the Grammys. CBS, one of their top programs is 60 Minutes, which reaches 6.9 million viewers per episode. Still great, but nothing compared to what it was before because of streaming services. And Mr. Beast, his main YouTube channel averages between 90 million and 140 million views per day. That's absolutely insane. So, YouTube's influence on everything else, not just the regular traditional media. YouTube has a global, always-on, hyper-personal audience that dwarfs the reach of traditional TV. It's not bound by airtime's geographic limitations. The aspect influenced the development of streaming platforms like Netflix and Hulu. But who did it first? So I didn't know this before this project, but actually there was something before Netflix, and it's called the first streaming service is called Real Player. It came out in 1995. It was developed by Real Networks, originally called Progressive Networks, and it was first used for streaming just audio. The first live stream was a baseball game between the New York Yankees and the Seattle Mariners in 1995. Video streaming came a bit later, but Real Player was among the first to support this, supported by the late 90s. All right, but the early streaming milestones all go to Netflix. In 1997, Netflix was founded. but it started as a DVD rental by mail service. So it's not like you going down to Blockbusters and renting out a DVD. People could do it from their home. And then YouTube launched in 2005 and it was on demand streaming, which influenced Netflix in 2007 to watch instantly, becoming the first mainstream video on demand subscription service, streaming service. And in 2013, Netflix original content begins. So they went from just having shows or movies that were popular on TV now or back then to creating their own content, which is bringing in more money. So streaming goes live. We had all of these streaming services before: Netflix, Hulu, YouTube, Filio, Sling, all these things, Fubu. And now they have live streaming services where you can watch TV, like regular TV schedules on those streaming services, so you don't have to pay for cable. Some people would still like to watch their early morning news in their morning to get ready for the day, but they don't want to pay for cable and a bunch of streaming services at once. I know a couple of you have implemented this in your whole lives and cut out the cable box and just use streaming services and actually enjoy it more. But sports should be fine. Sports should be safe. It'll save us all. Okay, never mind. We have things like ESPN Plus. The Olympics were on a streaming services, and of course, Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul was live streamed on Netflix, and then Netflix turned around and did a Christmas game day. Like, we just never thought that our streaming services would be streaming sports. And it was the big shift, a major turning point. This is what truly scared all of the broadcast networks of like, okay, we might be going down. Live sports were one of the last things holding up traditional broadcast networks. Now platforms like Amazon Prime has NFL Thursday Night Football, and Apple TV is showing the MLB and the MLS. And Peacock and YouTube TV are stealing the spotlight. ESPN's upcoming full streaming launch, expected in 2025 to 2026, is a huge signal that even cable giants see the writing on the wall. Now, it will fade, but not completely collapse. This is my kind of prediction for the broadcasting industry. Think about it as radio. When radio was the first thing, everyone was like, this is amazing. I love the radio, all these things. And then TV came out, and all of those radio stations that used to do stories of like audio stories that people would sit down and listen to at the dinner table or listen to before they went to bed just so they have some type of entertainment, kind of cut that out once TV came along and TV shows were all over the place, or TVs were all over the place. Now think of it as like that. We're still going to have live broadcast. It's just not going to be as popular. Everybody's just going to start trading over into streaming services and everything, but it's still going to be offered to people. It's just not going to make as much money as it was before. Major sports leagues will offer more direct to consumer streaming. Traditional broadcast stations will either fully move to digital streaming and service niche or local news utility functions like PBS and local weather news. And over-the-air TV might survive in a rural or underserved areas, but secondary channels not as a primary one. Now, they're kind of banking on the older generation to keep them alive for as long as possible, but again, time's moving quickly. Like I said earlier, think radio after TV arrived, not gone, just no longer the mainstream. TV broadcasts won't vanish overnight, but by the early 2030s, it will likely be a shadow of its former self, especially among younger audiences. Live events, especially elections, emergencies, or community news hybrid models, Netflix will offer both linear broadcasts and digital access. And all things like that. When there's something going on in the world, of course, it's going to be on live TV. It's not going to be as easy to interrupt those live TV programs on streaming services yet, but they figured out a way to do it, so we'll see. And that's it. Thank you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.